My friends, you are part of a powerful movement, and you can feel it. It's very hard to define what you just felt with words.
But here, guys, being part of a movement, let's take just a minute. If you're part of a movement, well, what does that mean about our business, right? I thought this was a business conference, right? Let's take just a second to talk about the difference between a movement and a business. You see, a business, that's just an organization that provides services in exchange for to clients in exchange for money, right? Okay, but a movement, on the other hand, a movement is a purpose-driven community with a common identity striving to fulfill a common purpose. Okay?
Yes.
But a business, you see, it's defined by handbooks and SOPs and dashboards and HR departments, right? But a movement, instead, you guys, a movement is defined by transformation, by a sense of belonging, by a deep commitment to your purpose. Okay, businesses, they come with side effects like boredom and severe cases of the Monday. And I never understood what are those zippy badge things,
let's go.
right? That's what a business is. But a movement, you see, its side effects include high amounts of motivation, enthusiasm, and inspiration. Now, we put words to this, but we didn't even need to. We felt it when we came in. If this was a business conference, we would have filed in nice and orderly and sat down and shook the hand of our neighbor and exchanged business cards, right? But that's not what you guys did. You trampled each other to get in here and be part of what we're talking about.
My friends, you are part of a powerful movement, and I want you to take just a moment, and I want you to get a feeling of the sense of belief, identity, and community that comes from being in this room. The sense of a fire of possibility by being a funnel hacker. Now, I want you to take a moment as we step into this journey, and I want you to close your eyes for just a minute, and I want you to imagine not just being part of a movement, but that it's your movement. And that people are fighting to get into your event to hear what you have to say about the success pathway that you are leading them on. Everyone is decked out in your swag. They are chanting your motto at the top of their lungs because they believe it, and my friends, they live it. Now, if you can see this in your mind's eye, how does it feel? And if you want this as part of your opportunity, then I want you to say yes. Say it with me one more time. All right. Now that I know who I'm talking to, we are here to help you build that movement that you just envisioned. We are here to help you see how to transform from business owners and CEOs into movement makers. And the reality of it is, we're gonna be sharing with you 4 steps that we used to transform our business into a movement, to go from being business owners and CEOs into movement makers. And my friends, what we've done to build all of this, we've used Russell's exact playbook to do it. My friends, if you have not picked up this book, this is homework assignment number 1. For a movement builder, guess what? This becomes part of your DNA. Now, in the world of ClickFunnels, what do they have? Funnel hackers. We were chanting that, right? In our movement, we gave our community an identity, empire builders. And in our world, funnel hackers, they wear their swag loud and proud. In our world, our people wear their swag as a symbol of their commitment to the pathway that they're on. Now, funnel hackers, you guys are on a mission, are you not? A mission to change the world, yes? In our world, our empire builders are on a mission to master the conversation on money. Now, look, in our world, our people, they climb mountains, they overcome challenges, all in the name of rising up and living free. This identity runs so deep that Dan, you can see on this picture, when he had his first child, he took his shirt to the hospital. And when the nurse handed him his new baby son, he leaned down and he whispered into that little child's ear, "Son, in this family, we rise up and we live free."
Right? Oh, every time gives me chills. Can you guys feel how impactful a movement is? But for those who don't know us yet, based on just what we've done here and talked about, what do you guys think we do? What business are we in? Well, would you guys believe that we sell life?
Oh, come on, no way.
Are you kidding me?
What?
Right? But you know what? You remove all of this, you remove the rock concert element of this, ClickFunnels, you're just a website builder.
Did he just say that?
Ouch, that hurts, but it's true. And what that means, you guys, anybody can build a business. Anyone can build a business, but not everyone can build a movement. Movements are not built on accident, okay? Now, I wanna stop for a second. This is important. The presentation, the rest of what we have to share with you is for only probably about 20% of you in the room. However, it will account for 80% of the revenue that this room will generate in the next 12 months. So what this means is some of you will figure this out, and the rest of you will continue to struggle on your path. That's because movement makers dominate. Look at Apple. Apple took in 93% of the industry's total profits. That's what a movement does, but that's because Apple is more than a product. You see, this runs so deep. We got a story about our good friend Catherine Jones. When she was dating her now husband, her sister wouldn't even let Travis into the family group chat because they couldn't have that green bubble, popping up. Right? That's what movements make us do. Now, don't worry, everything worked out. He converted and he's now in, but that's how deep movements run.
Man, I love that story. Every time I hear it, it cracks me up. But my friends, if all of this is true, you need to ask yourself a very serious question. Why are you here? I want you to consider the possibility that you are not here to learn how to build a business. But on the contrary, you are here to discover the exact pathway for you to build your movement. Because when you're here to do that, everything will change. Now, we're gonna be sharing with you four steps that we use to build our movement. But let me give you just a little bit of context on why Russell actually asked us to speak today. Okay, you see, when he sent us the Voxer message, you know how Russell gets, he's all excited. And he said, hey, I want to invite you to speak to Funnel Hacking Live. And we were excited too, but he was pretty vague on the details. Now, what he did say is, I want everyone to see what you've done inside of your business. My friends, we've done it. As Brad just said, we've taken the life insurance industry and we have created a movement. We are literally the best. We've built a movement around life insurance. And that's the thing that amazed Russell so much. But there was one thing. When you think about life insurance, what's the immediate conversation that comes to your mind? If you're anything like me, it's like this, right? You want to run out and punch the guy trying to sell you life insurance, right? But not in our world. In our world, people not only put as much money as they possibly can into a life insurance policy, they shout it from the rooftops. They celebrate their success. They take pictures with their life insurance policy and they post it on the interwebs. Can you imagine that? Now, this is the thing that Russell was very clear on when he did ask us to speak. He said, look, I want them to see what you've done. It's amazing. I want them to see your pathway so they can see what you've gone through to get here. But he was very specific about one thing. He said, I want them to see why or where you guys started. Because the reason the two of you are up on the stage, Devon kind of said it, and Russell literally said this in a Vox, you guys started out as the worst.
Thanks for the vote of confidence.
Thank you, Russell, very much. But you know what? He's not wrong. And what this actually allows us to do is it gives us a unique perspective to help you understand, yes, what to do, but probably more important than that, to show you what not to do.
So our journey started once upon a time at an FHL long, long ago. Like he said, all the way back in 2016, Ryan and I walked away from the industry. We were done. We walked away from $500,000 of income. We stepped into a 12-month non-compete. We gave up everything. Why? Because we were looking for something. We didn't have a word for it yet, but we knew we sold more than just life insurance. So we got duped into coming to a business conference that turned out to be this, and we spent the first 2 days totally confused. And on the third day, Russell pitched Inner Circle. And the thing that got us, the thing that made sense to us is he said, I'm not going to teach you guys how to market. So I'm going to teach you guys how to build a movement. Mm-hmm. And that was it. We were in, we wrote the biggest check of our life, and we jumped in. And Russell said, do webinars. So we did webinars. And the only people that came was Ryan's mom.
Thanks, Mom.
And she didn't even buy.
Come on, Mom.
Okay, so that wasn't working great, so we tried events. Those didn't go well either. And every year, we came back up and we whined to the Inner Circle about all of our problems. And we were the ones that weren't figuring it out. But a couple years into this, Russell said, you guys, the Inner Circle is supposed to be leading. So when we joined, there was no minimum to get in. You just had to write a check. But after a while, he said, you have to have a 2 Comma Club award just to get into the Inner Circle. And then he looked at us and said, that means the 2 of you have to get your 2 Comma Club or you're out.
So my friends, we did the unthinkable. We quit. Like, we literally couldn't do it. We'd spent 3 years in the inner circle and we could not figure out how to do it. And so on the drive home from Boise, we sent a message to Mandy because we were way too chicken to send it to Russell directly. And we said, it's done, it's over, we quit. We're just gonna go back to building a boring old life insurance company. But after we sent that message, we had this sinking feeling in our hearts that we had failed. Not just each other, but more importantly than that, we had failed the people that we felt inspired and actually called to serve. Now, here's the reality. Mandy sat on that message for a couple of days, which we're so grateful for, because a few days after that, Russell sent us yet another message in Russell's excited fashion that he does. And he said, guys, I think I have the key to your success. You see, you've built an amazing business, but I have something that's going to help unlock your potential. You see, he had written .com Secrets to help people with marketing, which, as Brad just talked about, did not come easy for us. But he said, Expert Secrets is about something completely different. It's about the expert. And so he invited us to come up to a little teeny mastermind. He was still working out some of the concepts in this book, so we decided to give it one more shot. We drove back up to Boise and said, we're gonna try this one more time. And in that room that day, Russell gave us the exact thing, the very thing that we needed. But my friends, it was the thing that scared us the very most. You see, what Russell told us was, he said, a movement has very little to do with your marketing. Whew. But it has everything to do with you. A movement requires a leader. But there was just one problem with that. I was scared to death. How many of you have felt scared to death? You see, for me, I had hidden behind the strength of the product that I sold for years, because my deepest insecurity was I didn't want people to know this guy's a high school dropout. And in the space of money, who on earth wants to listen to a high school dropout talk about money? Say no. Nobody does, right?
And if you're wondering about following a high school dropout, I was just finding out that I was in business with one.
Good to meet you.
Because that was news to me. Okay, and on my side, it's not much better. This is an actual book on my bookshelf that I have read. And I didn't just read it, I underlined things in it. When I go on vacation, I don't go to the beach. I sit in the hotel room and I write ebooks on the tax code.
He's so weird.
That's my vacation. But Russell said we had to be charismatic leaders. How could I be charismatic? We were so charismatic that the first couple of presentations we gave to the inner circle, practicing our material, Russell fell asleep. That's not a joke. He nodded off in the back of the room, okay? But the good news for you guys is we're gonna walk you through the 4 things that we learned to do differently from that playbook that shifted. It's the same 4 things that actually make all of you funnel hackers. They're the 4 things that are gonna be your path to transforming your business into a movement. And when you lock these 4 things in, everything changes almost overnight. Okay? So who's ready? Okay, let's hear it.
Let's go.
Hey, we're diving right in. We're gonna go into secret number 1. Now, I don't know if you noticed on the slide, how many secrets are up here?
4.
See, Russell has 3 secrets. We have 4. All right, we're gonna go.
You can tell Brad likes math.
Okay, so the one thing that made us uncopyable by our competitors, even though they've tried. So when we got into business, we were focused on results. We thought if we got the best results, then people would line up and buy from us, and nothing else really mattered. That was the key to business, right? So in our world, that was rate of return. So we focused on the rate of return that we could get from clients, and we were the best. We got amazing results for our clients. But the thing that was surprising to us is we actually learned what results are really built on. Because the more we talked about them, the less people seemed to care.
How many of you guys have ever felt like this before? I'm so good at what I do, but no one cares. Have you ever felt that before? How many of you have ever felt even worse than that? I feel called to do what I'm doing, but yet I still continue to fail. How many of you felt that? Maybe that's what brought you here to this event. And why we learned that results are actually required, we learned that there was such a deeper foundation. You see, when you build results on this foundation, everything changes. Because if you do not, then no one is even going to get the opportunity to get the results that you can deliver. So we continue to work on our marketing, work on our movement building, and we would test our presentation. We would test our skills out every time we drove up to the inner circle. And guess how we gauged our success? Is Russell falling asleep. Now, we got to the point where he was only nodding off about half the time, but I'll be honest with you guys, no one was jumping up and down excited about what we were doing yet.
So as we got better at this, okay, we were still stuck. And we came to an inflection point. That inflection point was Mandy Keene. Who knows Mandy?
Mandy!
Amazing, amazing human being. And she sent us a message. She said, guys, if you'll let me, I think I can help you too. Because I think there's something out of alignment between what you're saying and who you are. And my first thought was, if you know Mandy, there's a spectrum of woo-woo, right? And she's like all the way over there from me. So I was a little skeptical, but then I thought, we're paying a lot of money to have access to her. Russell trusts her implicitly. We probably ought to listen. So she had us take a test, right? I know it's woo-woo, but she had us go through the DISC profile. But instead of looking at the DISC part of it, she wanted to get to what our core motivators were. And when we sent her these results, her Voxer message back, she almost swore because she's like, we figured it out. We figured out where this misalignment is. You're money guys. You talk about money and you talk about rate of return, but money and economics is only your 4th out of 7 motivators. It's pretty low. No wonder you're out of alignment. And she showed us what really drives us, and Ryan's profile looks almost exactly the same, is this individualistic, which she translated for us to mean freedom. That we stood for freedom. We were driven and motivated by freedom. And all of a sudden, our journey started to make sense. The decisions we made inside of our business began to make sense. The things that fired us up and what we were excited about talking about made sense, and what we could stand in and lead. And she pointed out that when you go into Wall Street mode of talking about a good rate of return and then someday retiring, you're out of alignment. It wasn't for you. So instead, we started focusing on helping people take control and be free today.
This discovery changed everything for us. It allowed us to craft the way we talk to people about money. And this became our new battle cry: rise up, live free. This became the thing that we went into the marketplace about, to talk to people about money and life, taking control of their money and ultimately living their best life. And my friends, as soon as we shift how we talked to be in alignment with our core motivators, they came, they listened. For some, it meant walking away from the cubicle to chase bigger dreams. For others, it meant being empowered with money right now to live a bigger life. For others, it meant picking back up the dreams that they had put on the shelf for well over 30 years. This is Irina. She was a ballroom dancer, and she put her ballroom shoes up on a shelf for one day when she had enough money. And what do we know about that dream? It will never come true. So we told her to rise up and live free, and now money serves a meaning and a purpose. For others, like Jared and Camille Beckstrand, they live a life of moments. They just got back from one of these trips, and they say, the biggest live free moment of my life, a dream fulfilled, a memory never to be forgotten. My friends, when this became our battle cry and we were committing to people and helping people chase freedom, they came, they listened. We helped them remove the confusion and constraint with money, and they ultimately listened. Now, what this did more than anything is, yes, it helped us craft our message, but it helped give us the confidence that if we were helping people lead a life of freedom, we could do it. And heck, we might even be called to do it.
So, it made all the hard things and uncomfortable things and difficult things easy. I could now publish my face off as long as I was talking about freedom, and I would be happy doing it, okay? So what this room needs to understand, what we had to learn, was our core values became our core motivator. So the question for you is, what is your core motivator? Think about it for a second. If you need help looking for it, go take that woo-woo test. Or maybe ask somebody close to you, ask your spouse, ask a business partner, team members, clients. Some of you just need to stop for a second, get quiet, reflect, and ask yourself why you're here.
My friends, because when you get clear on this, you leave the world of average, ordinary businesses and you take a leap of faith into the world of extraordinary movement makers. And the most powerful thing about doing this is you find a sense of inner fire and drive. Look, in the marketplace, people can copy your processes. They can copy your results. They can copy your words. Believe us, we've had it done to us. But the thing that they will never be able to copy is the fire that comes from building a movement based on your core motivators. That makes you uncopyable.
Hey, so yes. Business builders focus on results. Movement makers focus on your core motivator. When we figured that out, it kind of worked. Okay, it wasn't everything, so we needed to learn the next lesson, which is now secret number 2 for you guys. It's why ignoring your product is the fastest way to get people to buy from you. Now, this was hard for us to learn because we had spreadsheets, and they were glorious and amazing. And we had the best product, not because that was our opinion, but because math said so.
I told you he was weird.
We could prove it. But the problem was we were in a literal David and Goliath industry. We were trying to go against Wall Street, billions of dollars, huge corporate names, companies that have been around 100 years. We were not relevant in the conversation no matter what our results said. And then Russell had the entire inner circle read this book called Play Bigger. And in that one quote jumped out to us. It says, if you attach your business to a problem, no one can tell how big or small your business is.
My friends, as soon as we did that, we went home to clearly define and identify our problem, and we decided to do it inside of a documentary. Who wants to watch the first 30 seconds of this documentary?
Yeah.
Let's go really quick. You see, in your financial life, you are stuck. If you've ever seen a car that you want or a house that you wish that you could live in, if there was a vacation that you wish you could take with your family and the only reason that you don't is that you can't afford it, then my friends, you are stuck. And the sad reality is you are trapped in a system that has been cleverly designed to keep you stuck. We started talking to the people that had success in almost every other area of their life, but they felt stuck with money. And we started to talk to them in such a direct way that we inspired them to not only listen to the problem, but they naturally assumed that we had the solution. It allowed us to present our opportunity, our solution to become financially free in 10 years or less.
So in order to shift from focusing on your product over to your problem, we've got 3 steps that we took to do that. First is you have to rally your people to your movement by focusing on their core problem. Okay, we're all in one of these three markets, right? Health, wealth, relationships. We all know this. So as we leave that, we've been taught to niche down, but we've been taught to niche down through our product offering. What we're gonna do instead is we need to niche down by owning the problem our people are dealing with. We have to get so good at knowing what problem they're dealing with, and they should start asking themselves, wait a minute, are you hiding in my closet and listening to my conversations because it sounds like you're in my head? At that point, you'll know that you own the problem. That's where we start, okay? So that's step 1. Then once we own the problem that we're attaching to, we're now gonna do something that's counterintuitive. Because again, we're taught, get rich in a niche, right? Now with our product, we may stay there. But with the solution to that problem, we have to expand it. And we have to show them how getting them unstuck or out of their problem doesn't just fix their money problems, but it can fix their health and their relationships as well. It becomes the solution to everything that they're looking for.
So my friends, this brings us to step number 3, where you might be thinking to yourself, what if I don't actually know what they want outside of the product or service that I offer? I'm gonna give you the most revolutionary step of all. You guys ready for this? You're gonna ask them. And you're not just gonna ask them once, you're gonna ask them over and over and over again, because remember what Russell just said? Most people don't know what they actually want. They know what they don't want, but you need to help them gain a vision for their life, a possibility for their life that they cannot right now see. These are the 3 questions that we ask everyone that comes into our community, and guess what? We do not let them answer with anything to do with money. What do they want? Get a clear vision in their head. Why do they want it? Get connected to it with their heart. And then who must they become? You see, the only difference between their desired reality and their present reality is they haven't become that person yet. When we start asking these questions, we start opening up a bigger possibility for our people to chase. And what ultimately happens is no one in our world is now posting pictures of the great rate of return they got. That's not what they actually wanted. They come to us wanting to own and control their time and live a bigger life. Here's Armando. And Armando, all he wanted to do was be present on a vacation. After 8 years of never taking a vacation with his wife, he came into our world, took his first present vacation, and celebrated it with a Rise Up, Live Free commemoration.
So now that we ignore our product and we focus on the problem, we now become relevant. We now own something. And for us, we figured this out. It still wasn't quite enough. We got a bump, we got a lift, but it still wasn't quite enough. What we had to figure out next was we had to give our clients one thing, our followers, one thing that would 4x their results. Now, when we came on stage and we got you all excited, we didn't have you yell this. I imagine that. Because if we did, that would have felt weird, right? That's because businesses have clients. So if businesses have clients, what are all you guys? Because you're certainly not clients, okay? Clients don't fly to the middle of nowhere, Boise, Idaho, to go to the Smurf turf and set Guinness Book of World Records for bubble soccer. That's not what clients do, right? Movements don't have clients. Movements have disciples. They have followers. They have raving fans.
Businesses, they have people that go online and they post a 5-star review about awesome product or amazing customer service. But raving fans, followers, they get online and say, this transformed my life.
So, who wants to do that, right? Okay, so 3 things to convert your clients to followers. The first 2 are pretty self-evident. They're pretty easy. 1, they need a goal, and 2, they need a system, okay? Who has the goal of a 2 Cup award? Let me hear it,
Let's go.
Russell's done a very good job of giving us a compelling goal. Now, how many of you have used one of his bajillion systems that he's given us to be able to do it, right? Okay, pretty easy. But businesses stop here. And if you look around, other website builders, they stopped here too.
And it doesn't matter where you are in the marketplace. If this is where you stop, here's the reality. The chances of you succeeding with the people you're going to serve is still pretty low. In fact, James Clear wrote an entire book on the success principle required for movement builders to have transformation with the people they serve. And he said, for those people that have a goal and a system, their chances of success is pretty low. You see, here's what happened. There was an entire study done with people that wanted to quit smoking. That sounds like a pretty awesome goal, right? And so they took a group of people and they gave them that first goal, quit smoking. They used motivation, they used opportunity, they used everything they could to get those people to have a goal to quit smoking. Can you guess what their success rate was with just a compelling goal? 3%. So they took that group of people and they added to that group of people a system, a support network, patches, all of the different things, and combined with an amazing goal and amazing system, their success rates were still only about 20%. But then they took a third group of people and they trained this group of people to have a different mechanism in their mind of how they would respond when someone offered them a cigarette. And in fact, the way that they would respond is, no thanks, no thanks, I am not a smoker. Now, that doesn't sound like much, but the success rate of that group of people went up to over 80%. That's 4 times better than the people who just had a goal and a system. But what's the difference? Well, look, the reality of it is the people that had a goal and a system, when they were offered a cigarette, guess how they responded? No thanks, I'm trying to quit. They believed themselves to be a smoker using a compelling goal and a system, and their success rate sucked. But when people believed themselves to not be a smoker and naturally responded with, no thanks, I am not a smoker, they were using a goal and a system to complement this identity. My friends, the power to tap into your subconscious mind is literally how we define ourselves. What comes after these 2 words will define your entire world. So as movement builders, what do we have to do? We have to give our people, the ones that we're serving, a new identity, a new sense of belief of what is possible. And this identity needs to be stronger than any of the forces that will compel them to move in any other direction. Ideally, you want to attach this identity to their core motivators and their core beliefs. Now, when we see people give out shirts, at first we kind of thought that this was gimmicky. It was kind of like a marketing ploy. But my friends, when you get this right, the shirt actually becomes a symbol of an inward commitment, an inward identity. That's what the shirt symbolizes. It's kind of like their superhero cape. This is how our community wears their shirts today. They use it as a symbol of them going out and conquering life's challenges, being empowered with money. That's what the identity of Rise Up, Live Free means to our community. Ask yourself this. Why does Russell bring people like Tony Robbins to ClickFunnels? That dude knows absolutely nothing about funnels. But what does he know? He knows transformation. My friends, this is what Tony Robbins says. The strongest force in the human personality is the need to stay consistent with how we define ourselves. When we bring people to our events, guess what we do with them? We take them out into the mountains at 5 a.m. in the morning. It doesn't matter if it's raining, if it's snowing, if it's dark. Nothing will stop us. We arm them with headlamps, and they are scared to death to go on these crazy hikes that we take them on. What does it have to do with investing? Nothing. But it has everything to do with the transformation required to be empowered with money, the product that we're bringing to the table.
So that is secret 3. In order to transform clients to followers, you have to figure out what identity to give them. And when we figured this out, we were so close. We were on the edge, which is why we have 4 secrets. The 4th here is one simple tweak that will make your people insanely loyal. Businesses get this wrong because they spend all of their time bragging about their results. Bestseller this, fastest growth that, industry leader, whatever, okay? In order to create belief in the marketplace about their business. But movements do it differently, okay? Movements instead focus on something different. When we came to Funnel Hacking Live the first time, we were just confused. Why was Russell giving people gold records? I thought this was a marketing conference. Year 2, we came back excited because we kind of figured out we were drinking the Kool-Aid at that point, okay? But year 3, we came back, and we're actually a little embarrassed to say we came back jealous. That color didn't look very good on us because we hadn't got it yet. And that year, we almost didn't go to the awards ceremony. But last second, we decided to go in there and sit and watch. And as we watched, people, person after person stand up. We actually saw somebody go up who sells retirees hot dog cart opportunities. That guy did $1 million. That guy. If that guy could do it, something transformed inside of us. And we believed that we could do it too. And we realized, so we came back, not just with the 2 Comma Club Award, we came back with our 10X Award within 1 year. Right? Thank you. That's what belief does.
And my friends, what we learned from that one lesson is when your belief changes, the only variable is time. As soon as we could believe that it was possible for us to walk across this stage, to hold that award, to become the leaders that we needed to become, the only variable for us was time. Now, as soon as we had this secret to success, what do? Well, as movement makers, we turn around and we give it to the people that we're serving. Now, we give these awards to our people to, yes, celebrate their success. But guess who we're really giving these awards to? The people who need a sense of belief, just like we did when we watched that dude get a hot dog cart award. I mean, come on now. Look, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to take a moment, and I want you to envision yourself not just getting your own award, but I want you to envision what it would feel like to turn around and hand an award to a person that you are serving, to a person that you are helping transform, to the belief that you are instilling in that person that your success pathway is possible for them and for everyone else you serve. That is exactly what the secret does.
So when we aligned these 4 elements, that's when it took off.
Woo!
That's when it popped for us, and that's when it changed overnight. So for you guys, now that you know you need to align with your core motivator, own your core problem, give your followers an identity, and instill in them belief, can you guys now do it too? Are you sure? Doesn't sound like it. Let's go.
Let's go.
There we go. Okay? Now, I've got some good news for you. I started out saying this was only for 20% of you. But now that you've seen the path, now that you believe no matter what industry or how terrible you were, you've not made Russell fall asleep. And you don't have to try to sell people life insurance, right? The good news is this room is the 20%. The 80% that's not gonna do it didn't come to Funnel Hacking Live. They're out focused working on building their businesses. We in this room have been called to be movement makers. You have been called to be a movement maker.
My friends, I love that. Before we let you go, we need to give you a truth that about the game that you're stepping into. I want you guys to understand that the call that you are feeling right now is bigger than you. That's a good thing. It should be bigger than you. Funnel Hacking Live is so much bigger than Russell and Todd. Now, that feeling of both overwhelm and maybe a little bit of anxiety that you're feeling, guess what? That lets you know that you're on the right path. And the key to your success on this path is to chase a dream that is destined to fail without divine intervention. Now listen, the call that you are feeling right now is likely a call that you have felt for maybe months, even years leading up to this point right now. And that call was given to you for a reason, but it will not last long. You get one shot to get that call. If you don't answer, God might come back again and knock, right? Maybe that knock is what brought some of you to Funnel Hacking Live this year. If you don't answer that call, you'll probably get a nudge. And that nudge is meant to open the doorway of possibility to who you're supposed to become and who you're supposed to be serving. If you don't answer that third call though, you might be so lucky to be hit in the face with a 2x4. It's gonna be painful and it's meant to wake you up. Because look, the reality of it is God needs willing servants. The talents that he's given to you were given to you for a reason, and he needs someone to rise up and use those talents. And my friends, when you answer the call, here's ultimately what's gonna happen. You are going to find the most elusive currency of all. Yes, you will get awards. Yes, you'll get recognition. You'll walk across the stage and get your 2 Comma Club award, but you will find a sense of fulfillment that can only be found when you use your God-given gifts, skills, talents, and abilities in the service of other people. You see, your talents were given to you not for you, but for someone else. Now, my friends,
Thank you.
I want you to consider a very profound truth that lies inside of your movement. What if your dream is actually someone else's answer? Let me tell you just a little story to close us out of how we discovered this truth to be true for us inside of our dream. You saw the documentary, you saw the video about Dave Woodward. When we finally found the courage to rise up and accept our calling, our dream, we started talking in the way that we talked, and we found people that would listen, and one of those people was Dave Woodward. Dave came to us and he opened up his life insurance policy, not for the life insurance component, but for the wealth building component. You see, Dave, like everyone in our community, was chasing freedom, building something of value. And for the next 4 years, he was working arm in arm with Russell and Todd, scaling what we all are part of right now. Then everything changed. As you guys saw, Dave was diagnosed with a brain tumor. And I'll never forget that day when we got a call from Dave. He had found out that he had a brain tumor, and he was now curious about the death benefit component of the policy that he once opened. Over the next year, as Dave and Carrie and the Woodward family were fighting together, we were working behind the scenes to ensure that the financial component of their legacy would outlive Dave no matter what happened. And right before Dave passed away, he sent us this message. I pray you feel and know the blessing that you are to me. My friends, if we had not answered that call, we would not have been able to be an answer to the prayer of Dave. And we are so grateful that we did, because your dream, what you are feeling right now, it is actually your obligation. I want that to sink in for just a minute, because these 2 men right here, look around you. Look at all the people in this room. Our lives have been forever changed because these 2 men, along with everyone else on the ClickFunnels team, rose up. They accepted their dream and they opened up a possibility for all of us. We hope that a little bit of our dream, rise up and live free, rubbed off on you today to rise up and accept your own calling and your own dream. And if so, we are going to end this the way we began it. I want everyone to stand up.
Let's go. Stand up.
Stand up. We're gonna do one thing a little bit different, okay? I want you to take your hand and I want you to put it right here on your heart. And I want you to make an inward declaration of this right here. Inward declaration. I am a movement maker. Repeat that in your mind. Plant that deep in not just your conscious mind, but get that in your subconscious mind. Plant it there. Is it there? Now I want you to turn to your neighbor, the person next to you, and this might be the first time you've declared it out loud, but I want you to tell your neighbor that I'm a movement maker. You just declared your dream out loud. Now, I want you to tell all of Orlando, Florida, everyone in this venue right now, I'm a movement maker. Shout it from the top of your lungs.
I'm a movement maker.
All right, my friends, rise up and live free. Thank you.
Thank you.